the last in the series of Techiyas Hameisim. So on the topic of Olam Techiyah, it's an important introduction to this share. Today's topic is mitzvahs b'teilus lasad lavai, whether or not mitzvahs will be nullified, mitzvahs will be no longer existing when Moshiach comes. So it's important to note that our discussion today is only in the Olam Techiyah, meaning we know there's two stages of Yemais Mashiach. There's Yemais Mashiach, and then the Olam Techiyah. During the time of Yemais Mashiach, seemingly the mitzvahs will remain the way they are, even to the extent, the Rebbe says, to the extent that there will even be bechira, meaning people have free choice, bechira chavshis, whether or not to keep the mitzvahs or not. Although there won't be a leva even, there'll be a heart of stone, but there'll be the option of not keeping the mitzvahs chas v'shalom. However, our discussion is primarily in the Olam Techiyah, in the time of Techiyas Hameisim. So over here we find seemingly contradicting messages in the Chazal, contradicting messages in the Gemora, and we will discuss it. Another thing that is clear, in the Olam Techiyah, in the time of the world of Techiyah, whether or not there will be mitzvahs, so there definitely will not be the concept of schar v'onish, of reward and punishment, as it makes no sense in a world that the entire world is as it will be as we daven in our Rosh Hashanah, davening, that Hashem should be the king in the whole world, and every single creature should know that we're a creature of Hashem, and it will be felt in our flesh, and it will be felt in a physical world, whatever physical world will be. Obviously, there was no place for reward and punishment, as it naturally everyone will follow Hashem. The question is only whether or not there is the obligation of the mitzvahs when Moshiach comes. So now, the first source, let's open it in the source sheets, is the Gemora Moshiach Nida, is an interesting Gemara. The Gemara discusses the tachrichim, the garments that is put for a nifter, that is put for a dead body. Tanach Rabbanon, actually, Tanach Rabbanon, Baggage of by Klayim, a baggage that was done with Klayim, meaning a garment of shatnez that you're not allowed to wear. One should not sell to a non-Jew. You can't even use it as a saddle for a donkey. This is our main point. But you're allowed to use this as tachrichim, as garments for a dead body, even though it has shatnez. Amar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says, this comes to say, mitzvah is beteilus la'asad lavai, that the mitzvahs will be nullified when Mashiach comes. Why is that? Why is that? How do we prove that mitzvahs beteilus la'asad lavai? How do we prove from here from mitzvahs beteilus la'asad lavai? So Techiyas explains, and we have the source number Gimel, that the reason, how do we know that mitzvahs beteilus la'asad lavai, is because we know that there will be Techiyas Hameisim. So there will be Techiyas Hameisim, so that means this person is going to stand up for Techiyas Hameisim. And if mitzvahs kayemes la'asad lavai, and if mitzvahs exist la'asad lavai, then we cannot, then a person cannot wake up with garments of Shabbos. So therefore it must be mitzvahs beteilus la'asad lavai. But the Gemara is not finished yet. Amalei Abaya, back to source number one. Amalei Abaya v'itemer avdim. Amar Rav Mani Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai said, "Lo yishana." This that it says that you're allowed to give techrichim lemeis is elul lesaftei. Is only for the time of hesped, meaning by the time of the funeral of the levaya, then you could give techrichim of shatnez on the kovrei asa, but you're not allowed to bury him in it for the same reason, because by the time of Techiyas Hameisim you shouldn't have shatnez. Amar leila vitmar Allah Rabbi Yechon afil kavrei. Rabbi Yechon says clearly that it's even to bury him. The reason, and Rabbi Yochanan Tamei, Rabbi Yochanan goes on, is following his reason, as Rabbi Yochanan says, "B'meisir chavshi," that with the dead is free. Kivin shemeis adam nasa chavshi min hamitzvos. Once a person dies, he's patur from mitzvos, which in itself seems not, which we'll address later. Seemingly, you're saying when he dies, he's patur from mitzvos, but that's not our point that we're addressing. Our point is not when he dies, when he wakes up at Techiyas Hameisim. In any case, we see here that Rabbi Yochanan, and that seems to be the opinion followed in all the Rishonim and in Halacha. Rabbi Yochanan says clearly that you're allowed to bury, actually in Shulchan, this is a practical Halacha, that the Techiyas is allowed to be made out of Shabbos. So the question is, so seemingly this shows that mitzvahs betelas l'asad lava. So first of all, the first question that we have in this, it fell out of the sources, but anyways, there's a Gemora in Sanhedrin. I don't know why it didn't come out of the copies, but there's a Gemora in Sanhedrin in Daf Tzadik on the Beis that says, "Minayin Techiyas Hameisim in the Torah." From where do we know Techiyas Hameisim in the Torah? So it says in the pasuk, "V'nasatem imenu." It says regarding the obligation of separating truma from our produce and from the wheat. So it says in the Torah, "Nasatem imenu as trumas Hashem la'aron ha'kohen." You should give the trumas Hashem la'aron ha'kohen, to Aaron the kohen. Frag the Gemara, "V'chi Aaron la'olam kayam." Will Aaron live on forever? You're saying that there's a mitzvah. The Torah is relevant every single moment. The Torah is nitzchis. The Torah is eternal, which is really our point here. But the Torah is eternal, so it's not only relevant to that group of people in the times of Aaron HaKohen. So why does it say to give the truma to Aaron HaKohen? So Rabbi Yochanan says, "Mikan Techiyas Hameisim min haTorah." That, or not actually more than that. Not only the Aaron L'Adam Kayim. The end of the day, the obligation of separating truma is only when they entered Eretz Yisrael. When they entered Eretz Yisrael, that's when the obligation started. That's when agriculture started. But even without that, it's only in Eretz Yisrael. And Aaron HaKohen never even entered. So how is this mitzvah, not only that it's not going to last forever, but how is this mitzvah even relevant? So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan says, because in order for us to fulfill even once the mitzvah of giving the truma to Aaron HaKohen is only because it will be Techiyas Hameisim. So this is Rabbi Yochanan's opinion. So Rabbi Yochanan himself, the same Rabbi Yochanan, says mitzvahs betelas l'asad lava. Who we see that he holds mitzvahs betelas l'asad lava. He himself says that the meaning, the simple meaning of the pasuk v'nasatem the Aaron HaKohen, that you should give truma to Aaron HaKohen, it's talking about Techiyas Hameisim, which is clearly the mitzvah of truma will apply when Mashiach comes. Now, there are those, just briefly, one of the answers that people want to give is what we opened up the shiur with. That in Olam HaTchiyah, that's when mitzvahs betelis. But in Gemora Mashiach, mitzvahs are not batel. Meaning the times of Mashiach before Techiyas Hameisim, mitzvahs will not be batel, but when Mashiach comes, mitzvahs will be batel. But the problem with that, there's a few questions in that, but one of them is it says in the Mezeritch that certain tzaddikim will wake up Techiyas Hameisim a little bit earlier, meaning before everyone else, seemingly also before the time of Olam HaTchiyah. So if you say that till the time of Olam HaTchiyah the mitzvahs are still relevant, then there's no halacha that tzaddikim can have sadness, and we don't know who's the tzaddik that will wake up for early. So therefore, you can't say that that's the only answer, because it still doesn't explain why tzaddikim won't wake up for Techiyas Hameisim. Now, another question, another strong question, is in our source sheets. This we do have in source number 8, that the Rambam says and we all know, Davar Bararum Mefurish B'Torah. It's a clear thing in the Torah. She mitzvah imedes la'olam ul'olmei elamim. That the Torah is something that lasts forever. Ein la lo'ishinu v'le'giroin. It has no change, nothing less, v'le'tesefes, nothing come more. Shenemar, as it says, es kol hadavar asher anoichi mitzava eschem hayom, whatever I command you today, tishmeru naseis, you should guard to do, lo'isosif v'lo'isigra mimenu, you should not do anything more or less. And seemingly, and meaning that the Torah is something that is an eternal thing. So how could you tell me? How could you argue that the mitzvahs are not relevant forever? Now, there's two answers, which really the problem with both of them is the same question. So first of all, there are those that want to say that all this idea that when Moshiach in the Techiyas, the time of Techiyas Hameisim, mitzvahs b'teilus la'asad lavoi, is all part of the mitzvah of the Torah. I mean, the Torah says that it has an expiration date. Chazal Shalom. Another answer is based on a Mezeritch, that the Lanitna mitzvahs ela letzarech b'hana b'dias, that the mitzvahs were only given letzarech b'hana b'dias to include the creatures, to give opportunity for human beings to be part of it. Meaning, in other words, which we know, even according to Chassidus, is a part of the mitzvahs that refines the world. And the whole idea of the mitzvahs, of having mitzvahs ma'asos, of having mitzvahs, physical mitzvahs, is to refine the world. Now we know Mashiach is going to come. The world will be completely purified, will be at its highest state, begashminus in a physical sense. So therefore, there's no longer a need for the mitzvah. There's no longer a need for the mitzvah, and therefore it's batal. Meaning not because the concept is nullified, just there's no purpose for that, there's no need for it. But the problem with both of these explanations is that the reason why Torah is eternal is not for a specific reason, meaning, although yes, it's part of it refines the world, and part of it is to include the creatures, but ultimately, the reason why Torah is eternal, because this is the Ratzon of Hashem. The Ratzon of Hashem, this is the will of Hashem, which is essentially, which is really eternal thing for itself. By definition, it's eternal. Anything that is from Hashem is an eternal thing. And we can't, Chas v'Shalom, say that this eternal Ratzon of Hashem, which is inherently eternal, has a end date, has a date that it expires, and it's not only dependent on a mitzvah. And therefore, how could we speak about nullifying, getting rid of the mitzvahs when Mashiach comes? So now, there's another Gemora, which also the second paper in the source sheets was left in the copy machine. But the Gemora in Yerushalmi says, halachos shel Torah shel Baal Peh, the halachos of the oral Torah, einon b'teilim la'olam, will last forever. Shenemar, as it says, halichos olam loi, that halichos olam loi, this is a way of the world for him. Al tikra halichos ela halachos. Don't read halichos ela halachos, similar to the way we say a davening. And also, olam means forever, meaning halachos olam loi, that these halachos will last forever. And therefore, when it says therefore, it says, the Gemara concludes that halachos will last forever. Halachos will never stop because of this pasuk of Halichas Elam. So you see here again that the mitzvahs will last forever. Now, so there are those that want to answer. Those that want to say actually a nice answer from the Ritva says like this. So Mashiach comes, the Ritva actually asks the original question. That in one place Rabbi Yochanan says that you're allowed to do tachrich in the mace, that you're allowed to use tachrich of shatnez for a mace because mitzvahs b'teilas lasad lavai. And on the other hand, Rabbi Yochanan says that truma for Aaron HaKohen is because of Techiyas Hameisim. So the answer is that on one hand the obligation will no longer last, but still there will be a natural desire to do mitzvahs. People will want to do mitzvahs similar to the Avos. Before the Torah was given, the Avos did the Torah. Even there was no obligation whatsoever. But still they did it out of love, out of excitement. So the same thing when Mashiach comes, everyone will be on that level. And that's why everyone will do the mitzvahs. But there's two questions with it. First of all, the original question we asked, that Torah is an eternal thing, and the mitzvahs is an eternal thing. The Ratzon of Hashem, the will of Hashem, is something that lasts forever, and how could you say that there is an end to that? Because even the Ritva is saying that the mitzvahs will no longer exist. But people will do it for the Ruchnius to get benefit. And also, this Gemara of Alichas, the Halachas will last forever. The Halachas of Torah will last forever. Now what is Halachas of Torah? Is instructions of how to do the mitzvahs. So if you're going to say that mitzvahs will no longer be obligation, why do you need halachas? Why are halachas relevant? And therefore, we have to say something else. And the Rebbe has a beautiful explanation of this. And I want to read a little bit inside. It's in the second page. And it's actually, this is part of a sicha that was Muggid, that the Rebbe was Magia, and it's called Halachas Shel Torah Shebal Peh She'eina B'Teilim L'Olam, which this was said on throughout Rosh Hashanah and Chol Moed Sukkos and Simchas Torah, and it's connected also to the Siyam and Rambam, which was also we celebrated a few days ago. So let's read from the word starting with Asbarid Baza. Hageder the mitzvahs tzivui la'adam shayich rak she'adam hu metzias b'fnei atzmo. This idea, the Rebbe says like this. Before, in other words, the Rebbe says like this. What means mitzvah? Mitzvah means the commandment. What means a commandment? That there's two separate entities. One entity is commanding the other. So Rebbe says, "Ageda the mitzvah tzivui la'adam shayich rak she'adam hu metzias b'fnei atzmo." It's only when a person is his own metzias, his own entity. She'az neifel olav geder shel tzivui HaKadosh Baruch Hu. L'snaig al pi tzedek shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning, the Eibishter Hashem is one thing. A person is another thing. So Hashem's telling the person, you act the way Hashem wants you to. Aval la'achri shenishlemes avidasu shel ha'adam b'chiyam ha'mitzvos. But once the person is completed, shekol mitziusay chadura b'tzaynei hakadosh shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we achieve the ultimate level of Mashiach, when a person refines himself, that in the entire mitzias of a person, we realize that every single fiber of our being is all really a expression of the Eibishter. Ad shenasim mitzias achas, till we turn into one thing, one entity. Yisroel v'kodesh b'richa kol echad, k'fi sheyiyeh b'poyelo v'goleh lasad lavai, l'shayach hageder d'tzivui le'adam, ki im shu mitzias l'tzena shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shemizvadeh miskayim b'poyel yedei ha-mitzias l'mitzvos. In other words, like this: when a person wants to get his hand to move, does he have to send out a commandment and say, okay, let the hand move? No, because the hand is really through the nerves, through the nervous system, through the brain, everything is connected and everything is really one. So the hand moves in every second based on what the brain wants. Not the base. There's no a messenger that goes from the brain to the hand, because whatever the brain wants, the hand naturally feels and automatically acts upon it. So the same thing when a person reaches, when the time of Mashiach, when the entire world will be refined, and every person will be refined to the highest levels, and there will not be a concept of having something outside of Hashem, where really that's the way it is. We don't see it with our flesh, but even now, really, everything is Hashem. Everything that exists is not only because of Hashem, but really is part of Hashem, because there's impossible to be something outside of Hashem. But when Mashiach comes, we will actually experience that and feel that. And therefore, it's not fit to say that that there is no mitzvahs, that there's a mitzvah, that there's a commandment. Because the term commandment seems like there's two separate things where one is commanding another. So now, how does this answer our questions? How does this answer our questions with Kalayim? Why by Kalayim does it say that mitzvahs b'telas las l'avay? So that explains like this: that we could, at the time of the burial, you could put the person with the Kalayim clothes, with the shatnez, because there won't be, the taka will not be a commandment not to do Kalayim, because there will be no need for a commandment. So therefore, the person putting him there has the right to do it. However, the person will not be, for a second, will not remain with the Kalayim, because naturally, when we wake up, we will naturally be, when Techiyas Hameisim, we will naturally be in sync with Hashem's Ratzah. And the second the Techiyas Hameisim happens, that very second, the person will find himself a way to get out of the Kalayim. But even more than that, not only that the person will find himself a way to get out of the Kalayim, because when Mashiach comes, not only will human beings be refined, but the entire world will be refined. And there will not be a mitzias of anything, there will not be any existence out in the world that goes against the will of Hashem. And if the will of Hashem, which will remain forever, because the Ratzon Hashem is l'netzach, la'ad l'olam elamim, the will of Hashem will remain forever. If the will of Hashem that there shouldn't be Kalayim, somehow there will be a way that there will not be shatnez. There will not be shatnez, because everything will be in sync. And I think it's not the Rebbe's words, but I think part of it is, what does it mean? Begashmi, what we know is that the Techiyim rot, and everything will come back when Mashiach comes. But being that the Gashmi Sa'il, the physical world, will be refined, so then it will not come back. It will not have the ability to come back in the form of shatnez. But at any rate, the point is that the Ratzon of Hashem will be forever. But on the other hand, there will not be the mitzvahs, the commandment part will not exist, because there will be no need for it. And not only will be no need for it, the term is not fit, it's not right, because it seems like it's two separate things. So let's skip to the Sef's beard. And Reza Mudgish B'dia Kalosh in the base of Morim Shalachayda Seisim Zelzeh Mitzvahs B'teilis Las Lavayt Allah Shatera Ein B'teilis. Now, so the Rebbe explains that we see this theory that on one hand it says mitzvahs b'teilis l'as l'aveh, that mitzvahs will be bottled, but Allah Shaltera will exist forever, which is contradicting. And first of all, it's contradicting, but also, in a way, it's what do you mean? The halachas means the way of it seems to be instructions for the mitzvahs. So that explains like this: mitzvahs is the part of the commandment, where the Torah, where one entity tells another what to do. But the Torah is the halacha. So Torah means the ways of the Torah, means we are trying to understand Hashem. Hashem puts himself in the Torah, and therefore we're learning the Torah, we're learning and understanding the will of Hashem. Halacha Torah is trying to say the will of Hashem, that will last forever. The commandment, the mitzvah, the commandment, that will be bottled, because there will be no need for that. But the halachas of Torah, meaning the understanding of the will of Hashem, meaning the concept of the will of Hashem itself, that will last forever. And therefore, therefore, it says by halachas will last forever because that is relevant for eternity. Okay. Now, so in other words, just to summarize, the concept of mitzvahs b'teilas lasat lavai means that the mitzvahs, the commandment, the idea that there is one thing telling another, that Hashem is telling us as an outside entity to do the Ratzon of Hashem, that will not exist because there will be no need for that, and therefore I will not be fit to even use this term. And the Rebbe explains another interesting thing that we find, that it says regarding Machlekes Shammai Beis Hillel, that we all know, that it says in Techiyas that Kol Machlekes Shehi L'Shem Shamayim, any Machlekes that is L'Shem Shamayim, the Sefer L'Eskayim will last forever. The end will last. And an example is Machlekes Shammai Ben Hillel, Machlekes Beis Shammai Ben Hillel. That we know that mostly we pass like Beis Hillel, and when Moshiach comes, we pass like Beis Shammai. So in simple, it seems like that's what it means. Machlekes Shehi L'Shem Shamayim is Sefer L'Eskayim. That when Moshiach comes, we'll do like Beis Shammai. So the Rebbe asks the question: if we do like Beis Shammai, it's not the machlekes is not lasting. There's a machlekes. There's two opinions. One way existed before Moshiach comes. Another way exists when Moshiach comes. What does that mean? So the Rebbe explains that it says that when Moshiach comes will be like we'll pass like Beis Shammai will only be in Yemosei Mashiach. In Yemosei Mashiach, we'll still do the physical aspect of mitzvahs, where mitzvahs will still be bound to its physical implication of it. So then we will follow Beis Shammai. But once, when it comes to the time of Elam Techiyah, where our entire being will be all about understanding the Ratzon of Hashem, the will of Hashem, so then we're understanding the actual will of Hashem, where it is not limited to the physical limitations. Meaning like this: in our head, if Beis Shammai says Asur and Beis Hillel says Mutter, it's impossible to do both at once. But Hashem is nimna hanim nois, is beyond all the limitations of physical boundaries, and therefore in Hashem's will they could exist in one way. And being that la'asat lavai, the esek halayim to be l'dasis Hashem, meaning our entire being will be all about understanding the essence of Hashem and understanding the will of Hashem itself, that will be able to understand how these seemingly contradicting things will exist at the same time. And just to conclude with our Yom Yom says that when Mashiach will come, that will miss the days of Galus, meaning that ultimately the purpose of creation is that we should serve Hashem when it's a separate entity, when we feel challenged, and when we're not in sync and not naturally doing exactly what Hashem wants, and that is the purpose of creation, and therefore we should the few moments left in the time of Galus we should use to do more and more mitzvahs, because ultimately that's what we're here for and that's our purpose, and we should be zeichet to Mashiach Tzidkenu and take it from Yad Mamash. Amen.